Tell me a little bit about Jungle Kyona.
She is a phenomenal athlete and can do anything and everything, and she's so strong, like freakishly strong, and I mean that in a good way. Like, she is so strong. Like, she picked me up with ease, and I was like, oh God.
Ohayou gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, for whenever you're listening to the Joshi Pod, your weekly podcast about all things Japanese women's wrestling, Joshi Wrestling. I'm your host, Eric Howard, coming to you from beautiful San Diego, California. Yes, I'm back home. I'm not recording this in a hotel room in Florida. I'm back in the friendly confines of my home in San Diego. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for listening to last week's episode with Tekla, the young lady from Austria who's gone over and wrestled for Ice Ribbon. Based on your feedback on social media, you guys have really enjoyed the conversation. If you hadn't listened to Tekla yet, go back and listen to her. She's got a pretty unique story. There's not a giant wrestling scene in Austria, but she's worked her way out of it and has already done one tour of Japan and is headed for another. She talks about some different opponents she's wrestled in Japan, including one of my favorites, Ram Kai Chao, she talks about. So again, go back and rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at the Joshi Pod. This week's show, we've got our 3-count headlines of the week. We're not going to preview a show this week. I'm going to send you to a different podcast. Wait for that. You'll get some information to see where I spent about an hour and a half chatting with somebody else about the big Stardom End of Year Climax show. The gentleman that hosts that show, the No Particular Angle podcast, has the gift of gab that I don't have, but he was able to pull some stuff out of me. He's really good at what he does, but I'll get you again information on that in the body of the show. We'll take a look at where some Joshi performers are performing outside of Japan. And in the main event this week, we have an interview with Nicole Savoy, who's really one of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. She is so good. She's made for Japanese women's wrestling. She's made to wrestle in Japan. Her style fits in perfectly. I did get a chance to speak with her at the Kara Expo in Anaheim a couple of weeks ago. We sat down. She was kind enough to spend some time and chat with me, and we'll get to that interview in a little bit. You guys are going to want to listen to that. She's really great. First, our 3-count headlines of the week are brought to you by Quiet Wyatt Designs. You know, every week you're going to hear about Quiet Wyatt Designs. They've helped me out so much so far in the first 8 weeks here. If you need a logo, a design for a t-shirt, anything like that at all, reach out to Quiet Wyatt Designs. They'll do great work for you. Nolan his name is Nolan Ryan, like the pitcher. He throws fastballs with his designs. I'm so corny. But the team at Quiet Wyatt Designs, they do really great work. Reach out to Nolan on Facebook at QUIETWYATT, all one word, Designs. They also have some products available on Redbubble. You can find them on Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of good stuff as well. So again, search for Quiet Wyatt Designs. You'll get some quality work and by a quality human being in Nolan Ryan. He's a great guy. Again, if you need any work like that done, reach out to Quiet Wyatt Designs. Headline number 1. No funny, no haha for this one. This is actually a serious one. I want to send out some get well wishes to Viper, Piper Niven, who about a week ago on social media announced that she's dealing with a bout of Bell's palsy. I think most of us are pretty familiar with Bell's palsy from Jim Ross in WWE. He's had quite a few bouts with Bell's palsy. So Viper, who is a better person than I, has remained pretty positive. You look at her Twitter account. I'll put a link on the show notes to her Twitter account, but she's remaining very positive. Again, something I absolutely couldn't do. I did some research on Bell's palsy after reading about her having a bout with it. It's also called facial palsy. The exact cause isn't unknown. For most people, Bell's palsy is temporary. Symptoms usually start to improve within a few weeks, and with a complete recovery in about 6 months. So let's reach out to Piper Niven. She's no longer in the Joshi ring. She's over at WWE NXT UK, but she's still part of the family. So let's let the Joshi family know that we love her and support her and wish her a speedy recovery. Again, I'll put her Twitter handle in the show notes and let her know that the Joshi family is wishing her a speedy recovery. Headline number 2. Stardom is setting the rules. After last year's Wrestle Kingdom week, where there was a few fans who caused a bit of a kerfluffle, Stardom has wisely, actually, and very helpful. I wish I would have had this before I'd gone to Japan the first time. Sent out a tips, guidelines, and protocol for visiting fans. They put it on their Twitter at We Are Stardom. It's in English. It's very, very helpful. I had to kind of learn some of this on my own, but it's really nice that they put all these things in one place. It talks about merchandise. They talk about how to act at shows. They talk about the 2 shots where you get to take a picture with the wrestler. They talk about dealing with the merch lines, which can be crazy at Stardom shows. But it's part of the experience, guys. Go do it. Don't get intimidated by it. It looks like they're going to cater a little bit to the Western fans by posting things in English. When I've gone before, it's all been in Japanese, and I've had to go ask the people running the event to kind of help me a little bit, to let me know when my wrestler that I wanted to meet was going to be over at the 2-shot area. So guys, again, I'm going to put notes on the show notes here on the guidelines, protocols for visiting fans. One thing I do want you to remember, you are a visitor in their country. You need to fit in there. They don't need to fit in with you. Be respectful. Fit in. You know, if you're standing out, then you're not being a good fan. Be a good fan. Respect the country. Respect the shows. Respect everything about that. You love Stardom, obviously, by listening to this podcast. You love Joshi Wrestling. So treat it with some respect. Treat them well. Korakuen Hall is a great place to go see a show. KFC Hall is as well, and then they have some shows in Shinkiba as well. But go support Stardom. Show them what we're all about. Show them what the Joshi family is all about. And go be respectful. Go get your autographs. Go get your pictures. Headline number 3. You can't spell Yuka without the UK. Yuka Sakazaki has been the latest Joshi talent announced for the Eve Riot Girls present Wrestle Queendom 3 on January 11th at the 229, the venue. She is awesome. I tweeted out this week, like, if there was one Joshi wrestler I could hang out with, Yuka Sakazaki would be it. She just seems so quirky and so fun. I would love just to have a conversation with her. If anybody from Tokyo Joshi Pro is listening to this, I doubt they are, I would love to talk to Yuka Sakazaki. I can find a translator. I've got somebody who can help. Reach out to me, please. But yeah, Yuka's going to be a great fit. Nicole Savoy actually talks about Eve Wrestling and how fun it is in the interview later on in the show. But so far, they've got Yuka Sakazaki and Maki Ito. They know what they're doing. They know who they're booking. These 2 women are money performers. They're going to be just awesome at Wrestle Queendom 3 on January 11th in London.
まもなく2番線に渋谷新宿方面行きが
No show previews or reviews this week on this show. I'm going to encourage you guys to go over to the No Particular Angle podcast. JPQ is the host of that show. He spends about an hour and a half with me. Bless him for doing that. For chatting with me about Stardom. I was very thankful to be a guest on his show. He's really good, again, with what he does. Again, putting a link for the show. His Twitter is NPA Podcast. You can find the show on there as well. He's got it pinned at the top. We go over all the big matches on the show. We talk about Julia and Hana, about how I would have booked things differently than Stardom did. Like, I know more than them. I don't. But I have a different opinion. I can have an opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong. But again, I'm going to have you guys go to the NPA podcast, No Particular Angle, to listen to my opinions about Stardom's end of the year show, plus kind of my thoughts about 2020 for Stardom as well.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Steve. I'm the host of The Last Podcast You'd Want. Do you like movies? Well, that's what we talk about. I bring a guest on, maybe more than one, and we talk about movies they like, movies they don't like, movies from their childhood, movies that give them nightmares. Just some of the few topics that we talk about on The Last Podcast You'd Want. So if you like movies, you could find us on Apple Podcast, you could find us on Google Podcast, you could find us on most major podcast outlets. Tip the veal, try the staff, check out the show.
With Japan being the center of the wrestling world for a couple weeks here at the start of January into December, I do want to again let you guys know about the Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling present Wrestle Queendom 3 Saturday, January 11th in the UK in London. They only have standing room seats available, so if you are not in the area or you can't get tickets, go to the Eve's website, evewrestling.com. They have an on-demand service. Take advantage of that and check out some of your favorite Joshi wrestlers that have previously performed at Eve, like Miko Satomura, Emi Sakura, Viper, Piper Niven, who we spoke about earlier, Tony Storm, Manami Toyota, Session Moth Martina, Mei Saruga, Lulu Pencil, who just recently went over there. We'll give you more information about how to watch Wrestle Queendom 3, but in the meantime, go to Eve's website, evewrestling.com, and check out some of their previous matches. They're really fun. They put on really great shows, and give them a watch.
This is the War Master, Josh Barnett, and you're listening to the Joshi Pod.
Thank you, Josh. I wish you the best of luck this weekend with your Bellator match. Before we get to the big main event interview with Nicole Savoy, I want to remind you guys to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. You can follow me on Twitter at Eric San Diego, and you can follow the podcast on Twitter at the Joshi Pod. We'll chat with you next week. Enjoy the holidays. Arigato gozaimasu. All right, we're here at the Chara Expo with Nicole Savoy.
How goes it?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
So we're at the Joshi Pod. It's the Chara Expo where you just wrestled Tam Nakano and Mayu Iwatani. A little flashback from 2018 when you went to Stardom.
Yeah.
Tell me about, first off, I like to ask people how they got the call or how they get the notice that they got selected to go over to Stardom. How did that happen for you?
Well, I know that first Shayna went over there, and they originally wanted me and Shayna to be a tag team to go over there, but she got signed. So that never happened. But after the Mayan Classic, I got an email from Stardom asking if I wanted to go do a tour over there, and I told them yes. And that's how that happened.
So was going to Japan a goal for you always?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was on my list of goals when I first started wrestling training. I had wrote down this list, and Japan was on there, along with winning the Shimmer title and working for Shimmer.
You've accomplished all those things.
I have.
So was it Stardom in particular, or would you have gone to any company that would have given you a call?
I would have gone to any company, to be honest with you. I just wanted to go to Japan.
And you went over as the Shimmer champion?
Yes. I had to think about that.
Yeah.
Man.
So, did you have to go through like the dojo trainings while you're there and stuff as well?
Yes.
Tell me about that. We hear horror stories about some of those things. Tell me about the dojo training.
There were no horror stories with me. I mean, I had fun. Training was always great. I enjoyed the first time I was there. I enjoyed training under Kagetsu and Io, and then the second time I went over there, it was Mayu and Kagetsu, and we had fun. It was
like 8,000 Hindu squats a day, anything like that at all?
I mean, we did a lot of squats, but it wasn't like 8,000. But they do a lot of like circuit training type exercises and stuff. So. That I was used to that from wrestling training back home, so I was okay with that.
All right, so some other things I like to talk about is like the day-to-day stuff you did. So away from training, away from wrestling, what did you enjoy most about going to Japan?
I always tell people that when wrestling is done, I clock out from work, and I don't involve myself in a lot of wrestling things. I try to stay away from that world when I don't have to be in it. So I spent a lot of time really to myself in Japan, exploring things. The first time I was over there, I went to Tokyo Disney Sea with a friend who came over to wrestle for DDT Pro. And then that was about it. Like, I went and ate food, and then I came back to the apartment and played video games. And then the second tour, because I had went and seen everything, I stayed in the apartment and played video games.
But you did a little bit of touristy stuff.
I did. I mean, I went and saw like temples and stuff, but I mean, I really, really like my alone time when I don't have to wrestle. So
That's good.
Yeah.
It's a balance, right?
Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that.
So your first time you went over, you defended the Shimmer title against Jungle Kyona.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Jungle Kyona.
She is a phenomenal athlete and can do anything and everything, and she's so strong, like freakishly strong, and I mean that in a good way. Like, she is so strong. Like, she picked me up with ease, and I was like, oh God, my goodness. And she's so like passionate and like just dedicated to everything. Like, I haven't really met anyone that works as hard as she does. Like, she busts her ass off in training.
Somebody told me the Dust told me that she's like a locker room leader as well.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of the girls look up to her, especially now.
Why do you think that is? You think it's because she's lived a life outside of wrestling before?
I'm not sure. Honestly, like I only really knew her through like training and being on the road and stuff with her. I think it's, she's just always really helpful. She wants, everyone to, get their stuff down and, be serious about wrestling. And she's like you can tell when she teaches the girls and stuff, she's very passionate about what she does.
Good.
And yeah, so I think that's why they look up to her. She's a great teacher.
Good. And then you also wrestled Io Shirai
I had.
for her championship during that first tour. What was that like?
That was awesome. Another one who was very athletic. It's like one of those things where when I first started wrestling, or actually before when I first started training, like I knew who a lot of these like women were, and so like, it's like over the time that I've been wrestling, it's like I get to do my dream matches, and so like when I found out I was wrestling Io, I was like, oh, wow. A little starstruck, just a little.
A little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What's like your first trip over there? What surprised you that maybe you didn't expect from the girls in the ring that actually happened in the ring?
They're a lot more aggressive, and they're very, very about their fundamentals, like in the basics and stuff. Like when they get there, it's it's like you have to have a base, and I not to put down any training or anything here, but you kind of really don't see it a lot in training schools nowadays. Like everyone wants to do flips and learn cool shit, but they don't want to learn the fundamentals and the basics and stuff, and like constantly drill that, and that's what they do over there.
I think they do that everything in life. You see the musicians over there; they're like very, very good at it as well. So it's just like their culture, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so you had your first tour. Was that in January of 2018? Or early? It was early 2018.
Yeah.
It was early 2018. When do you know you're going back to do the 5-star? When did they contact you about that?
Oh, you're really making me dig deep. I get dropped on my head a lot, so dates and stuff, and really trying to remember that.
Or just how did it come about? Because it was just a few months later you came back again.
Yeah. I had spoke to Rossi at the end of my first tour, and he did tell me that he wanted to bring me back, and I was like, awesome. I didn't know when, but it was the same thing. I got an email from them asking if I'd like to come back for the 5-star, and I said, yeah, I would love to.
You can say no?
I'm not going to tell them no. I love Stardom.
So, what did you know about the 5-star before you came over, like the type of tournament it was? Had you wrestled a type of tournament like that before?
I've never wrestled in blocks.
Yeah.
Like, that was an interesting concept to me. Like, I would watch, these tournaments and stuff on YouTube, but to actually be in one, be like, all right, I got to wrestle everyone in my block, which is different from the Heart of Shimmer tournament that I was in years ago, where it's like, you wrestle people in the tournament in the brackets, and then whoever wins advances to the next round. We didn't have a point system, so to have a point system, it was a different concept for me.
So that's that's quite a few matches in a short amount of time.
Yes.
Was your body ready for that?
Yeah. I knew what I was getting myself into when I went over to Japan.
So you're prepared?
Yeah. A lot of the people that I've trained with, and even my trainers, they have gone over to Japan, so I already knew what to really expect when I went over there. I mean, I didn't, like, as far as their training programs and stuff goes, like, I didn't know that. Sorry. But, like, I had an idea of what I was going to get myself into, so I was prepared.
So I'm going to ask you about a couple of specific people.
Sure.
Shake it off a little bit, shake the cobwebs out a little bit.
I'm so bad, so I will try my hardest.
Maya Iwatani, you wrestled her in the 5-star.
Yes.
How amazing is she?
Awesome. Amazing. I wrestled her back in 2015, actually, here in SoCal, when Stardom came over here.
Oh, was it the...
That was that Stardom USA
Yeah.
I wrestled
remember
her
that.
here, yeah.
So was it... she's super talented.
Yes.
A night off, or was it...
She's very quiet.
Yeah?
Yeah, but she's awesome.
Yeah. So you also wrestled Hazuki for the World of Stardom Championship on that tour.
That was Momo. Was it Momo?
That was Hazuki, no?
All right, I did wrestle Hazuki, but I know she wasn't the
She wasn't the champion
at
then?
the time. No.
Okay, so...
No, it was Kagetsu.
Was it
Kagetsu?
Kagetsu?
Yes, I wrestled Kagetsu.
Okay, tell me about Kagetsu. She's another one.
Another one that's just athletic and so awesome, and like she's like a sponge. Like when she like sees something she really likes, she wants to know more about it, and it's like very infectious to where it rubs off on you, and you kind of want to know like why things are done a certain way. You want things broken down and explained and stuff as well. And she's like so good at like teaching things, and she actually was one of the ones with Hana that like really broke down and explained that Joshi style of storytelling and stuff to me, because here in America, we tell stories in the ring differently versus over there. And so Kagetsu, one day in training I just sat there and asked her like, what's the difference between what I know back home and what's done out here, and she explained it to me, and I was like, oh, okay.
So how much
more athleticism.
How much do they know about American wrestling?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than people think.
Yeah. They watch. They know.
They do. Yeah. They do.
So you wrestled Konami also. I think you defended the Shimmer title against Konami.
I did.
In Nagoya.
Yeah.
She's. I mean, it sounds like I'm a broken record here, but they're all just super duper talented. You remember anything about that match at all?
I was really excited because her and I have very similar styles, and one of my dream matches that I unfortunately didn't get to have was with Asuka back when she was Kana at Shimmer. But I knew that Konami had trained with her, so I mean, it's like I still thought that was pretty awesome that I got to wrestle her student. And it's very, very similar styles, and I was really excited about that because I knew that like it'd be different from most matches that I had out there, where everything was so fast-paced, and she's more like grappling and striking and stuff like I am.
All right, somebody completely different, Sumari Natsu, who's super duper entertaining. Everybody tells me she's different than all the other girls over there. Tell me about your match with her.
Fun. I rarely get to do matches where I have a lot of characters. Yeah, sure. I rarely get to do matches where, it's with like, wrestlers like her. And that was a really fun match to have. Like, she's so hilarious. You wouldn't think that when you meet her, but when you get to know her, you're like, she is so funny and so good.
So the language barrier, so you had all these great matches with all these women.
Yeah.
How did you talked about talking with Kagetsu and training and stuff like that. How was the language barrier?
A lot of the girls know English, and they know enough to they can put a match together with you. So I mean, it really wasn't a super hard time really going over matches and stuff. I mean, and even if it was like a word they didn't know or something that I didn't know, there was people there to explain it, so that we both were like, oh, okay. We had people that would translate it.
Google Translate? No?
Yeah, we had some of that out there too, yeah.
I survived on that over there. So what did you take in ring style that you learned in Japan? What did you bring back with you to the United States?
A little bit more aggressive. But I was already aggressive.
Like harder forearms aggressive, or what? What do you mean aggressive?
Like just more of in a more intimidating like style, I guess you could say. Like,
You always seemed intimidating before that, though.
was I?
I think so.
I think I'm a giant goofball, but at least I like to think.
When you step in the ring, though, you're pretty impressive.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
So, any future trips planned to Japan at all?
No, not that I know of. I honestly don't know.
Would a match like today possibly help you, I think?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I really honestly don't know. I didn't know I was going over to England, and I went.
To Eve?
Yes.
How was that?
That was fun.
I watched that on
That
YouTube.
was a lot of fun. I got called a cockney. I didn't know what a cockney was. Apparently it's a good thing, but when you're...
Doesn't sound good, does it?
It doesn't,
Yeah.
because, you think cockney over here, you think it's like some kind of like arrogant asshole or
Yeah.
something like that, So when I was over there was some guy yelling at me. Like, they were cheering for me because, when I'm a heel, like, I'm a really witty, I'm sarcastic in real life, So over there, like, arguing with the people watching in England and stuff, they're so sassy and witty, and their remarks are so quick-witted. So, like, they were starting to cheer for me, and I was like, no. So there's, like, this guy in the audience that was, he, like, said something to me, and I got the crowd to quiet down, and I, like, asked them if they wanted me to, like, speak British to them. They're like, yeah, go ahead, let's see what you know. And I told them to shut up, and I called them a daft git. And they're like, oh, she does know stuff, which is like a really unpleasant, stupid person. And so they started chanting Cockney. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. And this girl was like, it's a compliment. And I'm like, and you want to be like, oh, yeah, cool, I'm a Cockney. But you do, like, you kind of, like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You can be like, yeah, I'm a Cockney. And they're like, that dumb American has no idea what
they're
that
laughing
means.
at you, yeah.
So, like, I felt really bad after, but like I was like, Cockney, like I'm not from a farm, I don't know anything about chickens, roosters, cocks, anything like that. Apparently I insulted them, which I later apologized, but they're like, oh no, I thought it was great, but yeah, you insulted our people. No, Cockney, I'm a Cockney is great. And I was just like, well, I didn't know. Like,
It's the same language, but it's a different language.
Yeah, like, I didn't want to be like that person that agrees to like, yes, I'm a Cockney, yes, and then it means something completely different.
And you're on the internet saying Nicole's a Cockney,
Yeah, so I wasn't agreeing to anything I did not know of.
So that building they work in, have you ever worked in a building like that before? It looks so interesting on...
A long time ago, I think it was like back in 2010. There was a promotion out here called Fog City. It was in San Francisco, actually, and it had that closed environment, bar type feel to it.
Because it looked interesting walking down the steps to get to the ring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was real cool looking on
it was
TV.
real cool, yeah.
So you were there for the whole Lulu Pencil coming out party, Mesa Ruga coming out party from Gato Move?
Yes, they are hilarious. My favorite was the little tiny woman, May, when she wrestled Jazz. That was the funniest match ever, and it was great. I loved it.
When she's laying on the ground tapping her head, yes. So, have you seen Gato Move? I love asking people about Gato Move. Have you seen any Gato Move at all?
No.
You got to watch it on YouTube. I know you don't like to watch outside of wrestling. Take your phone in the ring with you when you're in work, so you can watch it. Because once you go home, you play video games. So when you're in the ring, have a phone in with you so you can like YouTube it real quick.
Okay.
While you're waiting to get tagged in, you can watch
totally
it.
Do that.
Yeah, but Gato Move, that's where May and Lulu come from.
Aww.
And it's like apartment wrestling almost. It's weird. It's like a little small room. There's no ropes, no ring.
Oh wow.
So it's amazing that they do what they do.
I will check that out.
Yes. I always tell everybody about that. So. Where can we find you on social media, Nicole?
So all of my social media handles are the same, which is Nikki M. Savo. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pro Wrestling Tees. Buy a shirt because it'll feed my video game habits. That's Nikki M. Savo. Nikki, the letter M is mother, Savo with a V.
You want to put your PlayStation name out there, anything like that?
I do have a Twitch and a Mixer.
Let's hear about it.
On Mixer, it's mixer.com/Val4Ranger. I have the links on my Twitter account and on my Instagram.
I'll put them on the show notes as well.
And then for Twitch, it's Ranger Savo. I tried to get the same gamer tag for the Xbox, but apparently it was taken. And I was like, that makes no sense. So
Somebody's squatting on it right now, trying to get money out of you, probably.
yeah, I don't know. I was like, that's so weird. But
So what do you do on Twitch?
I played mainly Elder Scrolls. I've been really busy, so I haven't been able to stream a lot. But I played mainly Elder Scrolls because I'm a giant Elder Scrolls nerd. I've been playing ESO for the past 5 years. So, and I'm a maxed out champion level player with like 10 characters that I can't even keep track of.
Don't play her, guys. She'll own you. She'll own you. All right, so before we wrap up real quick, what's 2020 got in store for Nicole Savoy?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I really don't know. Like, I've honestly been winging it. I mean, I know I'm about to actually make my debut for Ring of Honor next weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
So I'm very excited about that. I hope we'll see where it goes from there.
In January?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I don't know.
Good. Glad to hear. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being on the show. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you.